I'm Ezra, this is an Overthunk album review, and we're talking about Noname, Room 25.
I think I really wanna go someday.
Coming out of Chicago, the rapper, poet, songwriter, and all-around wordsmith Fatima Warner, who you might know as Noname, released her follow-up to 2016's debut mixtape, Telephone, Room 25. You, like me, might have first come across Noname from featuring on, I believe for me, it was Lost on Chance the Rapper's mixtape Acid Rap. Ever since then, she's made other such features on a couple of other Chicago artists, most notably people like Mick Jenkins and Smino. At the time, going as Noname Gypsy, she was definitely one of the must-watch, must-look-out for, must-listen artists from Chicago. And when she did put out her debut project, Telephone, in 2016, it was a mixtape that definitely did not disappoint. It was thoughtful, insightful, poetic, really lush and beautiful, quite jazzy and groovy, a lot of neo-soul kind of filtering in through the bottom there, and it really made it onto one of my most played albums of the year, which is pretty impressive considering the caliber of hip-hop that was coming out in 2016. It was good enough to really cement her place as part of the new rising stars of Chicago hip-hop, like Mick Jenkins, Chance the Rapper, Saba, and Smino. Now, 2 years later, we're talking about her first full release, Room 25, and it's not a big departure from Telephone, no bold new sound or interesting new direction, but it's not really a weakness. I think that she's definitely polished up every little piece of the puzzle that made up her sound previously, and while it's not new, it's definitely a level up for Noname. If you're looking for trap, noise hop, or any of the big production that's kind of encapsulating the hip-hop in 2018, you won't find it here. But what you will find is a tight, smooth, groovy as all hell album. The neo-soul that was an undertone in Telephone really takes the forefront in this album. You can hear it quite clearly on the opener, Self, and Blaxploitation, and most notably on Don't Forget About Me. She even raps on that track. Somebody hit D'Angelo up, I think I need him on this one. And it is almost seems to be a tribute to neo-soul. It's done really well. Production was handled absolutely exquisitely. It doesn't seem like a hip-hop album trying to sound like neo-soul, but it wouldn't feel out of place on a D'Angelo album. But it never comes across one note. On the track Regal, there's a lush, open, bright jazz sound that sounds like it was ripped straight from a Moonchild album. And Montego Bay, one of the earworms for the album that's been playing in my head ever since I've listened to it, also has jazz on it with a bit of an Afro-Caribbean beat that'll really wouldn't be out of place on anybody's summer playlist this year. The closest this album gets to typical hip-hop is on the song Ace. It does make sense, as it brings in Smino and Saba, frequent collaborators, both of whom had brought out some pretty strong projects this year and are on a bit of a roll along with Noname. And while it might be, a typical hip-hop beat, there's still elements of production on top of it that keeps it far from being average. I mean, the beautiful keys and even a choir hum, almost a positive, happy Negro spiritual going on underneath it. It's not really going to annoy anyone or strike you as mainstream if that's not what you're into. Window is another standout track production-wise. Big orchestration, lovely, large, room-filling sound. The melody really swells and builds up and hits this beautiful crescendo. However, Noname's lyrics tend to kind of lag behind with her soft-spoken and subtle approach that she has pretty much throughout the whole album. But that is what we've come to expect from Noname, both from her features and her debut mixtape Telephone. I think she can be forgiven for this if you're listening on the lyrics, which are of a caliber and quality that is hard to find in rap, not just now, but ever. Don't underestimate her bars just because of her delivery, because if you do, you'd miss out on one of the strongest lyricists working today. In fact, I would put her in the same league as Kendrick Lamar or even an Earl Sweatshirt. Yeah, I said it. And whether you're a fan of the neo-soul and jazz and kind of understated production that she uses, she always paints really vivid pictures with these lyrics on every single track. She's really great at bringing you into the lyrics, whether it's from a storytelling angle or her more poetic, dense, metaphorical lines. Now that's not new, but on Room 25 there is a definite edge to some of her delivery. And I'm not talking about shouting your lyrics and where my dog's at fashion like DMX, Schoolboy Q or J-Rock, but there is an understated sense of aggression throughout. Rebuttal. Perhaps this is a direct rebuttal to detractors of her style. Perhaps it's just the natural progression of someone coming into their own as a rapper as opposed to a poet or spoken word artist. Or maybe she's just trying to show you that no matter what you think about her, she can still rap better than probably most of the artists on your playlist right now. But even this aggression is subtle and understated and really serves to just kind of make you listen more to what she's trying to say on all of these songs. The new elements of aggression, dense, tightly packed lyrics, as well as this great delivery, it rewards you for repeat listens. And repeat listens there will be. The production combined with the lyrics and some really great lyrical themes, from political to sexual to gender issues to just generally being alive right now, you'll be returning to this album quite a lot. Standout tracks for me, opening run of Self and Blaxploitation, Don't Forget About Me with that beautiful neo-soul undertone, Montego Bay, probably my favorite track from the album and has kind of made it into all of my playlists that I've been making over the last couple of weeks, and also Ace, which is a really fun, almost posse cut with Smino and Saba. Not the first time she's had a song with them, hopefully it won't be the last, because it's really great. Overall, this is a great album and a great addition to Noname's catalogue. There isn't anything technically wrong with it, and my only criticism is that besides for the blow your hair back wow moments on my standout tracks, the rest of the album can get a little bit flat here and there. That's not to say that you can't get anything great out of them if you're focusing in and listening on Noname's lyrics, but perhaps that might be a minus for someone else out there. This is a great project. There's amazing lyrics, impressive instrumentation, and some really smooth, tight production. I think everyone should give it a spin at least once, even if you're not a hip-hop fan, and I give it an 8 out of 10. Noname, Room 25, one of the best hip-hop albums of 2018, maybe in my top 10, maybe in your top 10, maybe I'm rambling because I don't know how to end the review.